All right, so let's look at part one, which is the growth, decay, applications, and change rate. For an exponential function, the value of b represents the change factor. And this is what we've been looking at since the beginning of the unit. If b is greater than 1, it's a growth. And if b is between 0 and 1, it's a decay. Okay, so now we're going to add the change rate. Okay, and to find the change rate, we're going to take my change factor and subtract 1. But if you notice, we have these absolute values. I want my change rate to always be a positive number. So absolute values takes a value, no matter if it's positive or negative, and always makes it positive. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. Okay, so again, change factor, subtract 1. B, subtract 1 to get the change rate. And once we get through this first example, I will show you kind of the difference between the change rate and the change factor. So example 1, a new all-terrain vehicle, so that is like an ATV, a four-wheeler, okay, cost $800. The value of the ATV decreases by blank % each year. I want to determine the change rate given d of t equals 800 times 0.90 raised to the t. So we're first going to identify the change factor, okay? And my change factor is, again, my b. It's always right in front of the x or the variable exponent, okay? So that is going to be 0.90. I'm going to take this change factor, and to find the change rate, I'm going to take the absolute value of 0.90, and I'm going to subtract 1 from it. So this is always your little formula. And 0.90 minus 1 is actually negative 0.1. So that's why I want this absolute value, because I actually want just 0.1, a positive 0.1. So my change rate is 0.1. I actually want to find the percent, and how to find a percent from a decimals is you either move the decimal 2 places to the right or you multiply it by 100. So I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. So this is actually 10%. So the ATV is decreasing by 10% each year. Okay. So how I kind of look at the difference between change factor and change rate is your change factor is kind of like what you are paying of the ATV, the worth. So if I were to change this 0.90 to 90%, I'm paying 90% of the ATV. Whereas the change rate is kind of like my discount. So it's what I'm not paying, the 10%. I get 10% discount each year or 10% decrease. Okay. All right, let's look at letter C. We're going to estimate the value after 5 years. Okay, so if you notice, we're going back to function notation, and I see d of 5. The 5 is in the t spot, so wherever I see a t in my equation, I'm going to plug in t. So we're going to have d of 5 equals 800 times 0.90 raised to the 5th power. So let's go get my cool calc out, and let's type that in. So I'm going to have 800 parentheses 0.90 raised to the 5th power. And we get $472, and we're going to round to the hundredths because we're talking about money. So we're going to go 0.39. So d of 5 equals $472.39. Let me just make sure that's right. 472. Whoop. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. So in year 5,